In this session, we are going to discuss about error handling, which is the part of, main thing in any software code, which is very heart of any system. So if you develop any code, error handling is the main thing. Even it is Java or C, CPP, now in MuleSoft or any other integration platform, anything. If you develop anything, if you implement anything, error handling is the main stuff. So we have to pay more attention for this error handling stuff, how we can handle the errors and how we can achieve this in MuleSoft. So as part of this session, we will cover these topics. So what is error handling, and we will see in depth, and we will discuss about on error propagate, on error continue, and rise error, try catch scope with real-time examples, and we will see all the global error handling and different error handling strategies and all, and we will see all the hands-on session, because this session is completely hands-on session to discuss all these types and strategies and all. So you should pay more attention. So there is less theoretical part here. Okay, so let's get started. And it is very important a topic for any coding language, which is error handling. So if you have any error, how you are going to handle in your code. So let's see how we can do that in MuleSoft. Okay. So before we enter into how to handle errors in MuleSoft, we will see what are the basics about it. So what is error, what is error handling, what are the different types of error. So once you are familiar with this, then you will be easily understand how MuleSoft is handling the errors and all. Okay. So let's start with what is an error. So in general, what is an error? So if you used correct functionality in a wrong way, or if you are receiving a negative response for the expected functionality, which is, unexpected negative response of an expected functionality, you can say for example, in your mobile phone, you will lock with the pattern or any fingerprint or any password or pin, right? So to open your phone, to unlock your mobile, you have to enter the correct details, right? So for example, you have entered wrong pin, or you have used another finger which you have not registered as part of security. So if you try more than 2 or 3 times, what will happen? It will actually block that particular security, and it will send you a message. It will show you a message like too many attempts. So you have used a wrong password for too many attempts. So we are disabling this functionality for some time, or you are unable to unlock your phone. This is locked. The password is locked. Like that, you will get some message, right? So what is that message? That is nothing but error message, error response. So to handle any error handling means, uh, see error handling means you are not going to fix the error at that time. You are actually intimating the users, you are actually informing the users like what happened wrong. So in our mobile case example, it will clearly mention too many attempts with wrong pin. So we are disabling this functionality. By read this message, you will understand, okay, I have entered a wrong pin, or I have used a wrong finger to unlock my phone. So that is the mistake. So next time you will use the right pin, or you can use the right finger to open that mobile to unlock it, right? So like what is error handling means, you are handling different type of errors by sending a meaningful recovery procedure and meaningful response to the end user with the required details, right? So that user can fix it from their end if there is a data mistake from their end, or developer can fix that from their end, as it is if it is an implementation mistake, if implementation error. So like that. So error handling means you are not going to fix that, you are actually sending a meaningful response with all the required details or recovery procedures to the end user. Okay. So what is different type of errors in coding language? Maybe in MuleSoft, or maybe in Java, in CPP. What are the different types of errors you can expect? So these are all the types of errors. One is message level errors. Second one is system level errors. So for example, what is message level errors? So if any message is involved in that particular error, it will nothing but message level errors. For example, if you are going to logged in to any point platform, let's say this example itself. Okay, so let me log in into any point platform, I mean cloud hub. These are all my credentials, right? Credentials means my username and my password. Let me enter a wrong username and click on sign in. What you expect? It is throwing a message. This is nothing but error message. What is the error message you are getting? Your credentials are not valid. So by reading this message, because this is user friendly format of message. Okay, so by reading this message, you can understand what you have did. So your credentials are not valid. Maybe those credentials are expired, or that you have entered wrong username and wrong password. Right? So here the message is involved. Any data is involved? Yes. So here username and password is nothing but message. So it is involved. So this kind of errors is known as message level errors. Wherever any data, any message is involved in your error, which will cause that error, it will nothing but message level errors. So another type of error is system level errors. Before you logged in into system, or before you send any message or receive any message, if you have any kind of errors like connectivity issues or connectivity issue to database, if you are unable to connect that database, or if you are unable to use that particular website, maybe that website is down for some time, or maybe the database credentials are changed, that is another point. But if you have any system level sorry, connectivity issues in JMS provider or database, these are all few examples. Those are called system level errors. There is no message involved, only connectivity established errors are involved. So in our case itself, you can say like anypoint.mulesoft.com is the actual URL. Let's say we have another URL we have implemented. For example, mulesoft-test.com something login. So let's say this is another URL which they have developed. But now if you can see, if you enter it, you will find some error like the site cannot be reached because you are unable to connect to that particular site. These kind of errors. Here we didn't send any message. We have just used that URL and clicked enter. So, or if you have any issues like connecting to database or connecting to any other third party service, which are nothing but system level errors. I hope you understand the difference between these two types of errors. Okay. So now you understood what are the different types of errors. Even with that, we are actually classified different types of errors, which are nothing but these common three types of errors in MuleSoft. Okay, business errors. First thing, what are the different type of errors comes under business error classification is data related errors or validation errors. Data related errors means we have just seen you have entered wrong details, wrong credentials and all. So that is nothing but data related errors. Or if you have given a wrong pin to you unlock your phone, that is data related error. So what are the validation errors? For example, while filling a online form, in the form of mobile field, you have entered your name, for example, because mobile field is accepting only numbers, but you have entered characters, ABCD characters you have entered with your name. So that is nothing but validation errors, because it will do the validation like mobile number will have only numbers, only digits, okay, but you have entered characters, which is nothing but validation errors. So like that, those two types of errors will come under business errors in general. Then technical errors, any connectivity errors like we have discussed while connecting to database or any other connector. If you are facing any issue, if you had any connectivity error, that is nothing but connectivity type of error. Okay, another one is this is specific to MuleSoft, data view expression related errors. So we have not yet covered actual the data view session as of now, but we have used some of the data view expressions like while reading the URI parameters, while display the payload, we have used some syntax, right? Attributes dot query params dot that query param names and all. So if you have did any mistake in that data view expression syntax and all, it will throw an error while running the code. So those type of errors are nothing but technical errors. Okay, so another one is this is also specific to MuleSoft API kit router errors. So if you remember, we have imported raml to our studio, and we have generated API kit router. Let me open the studio in the meanwhile. So we have generated all the flows which are related to ramen, right? We have generated the flows. Once you generate the flows, it will show. It will, I mean, by default, it will generate couple of error blocks. If you remember API kit connectivity error, API kit bad request, my studio is getting opened. Just have a look at it. So these are all the different kind of errors which are generated by default. See, and at the time of error handling section, in the error handling section, these are all the default errors which are generated by using RAML, by using API kit router. So see, bad request, API kit not found, API method, these are specific to API, specific to your REST API. Those kind of errors are now called as API kit router errors. And if you have faced any other errors other than this classification, we have to handle those unknown errors also in our code. Okay. So whenever an error is created, whenever you faced any error, whenever you have any error, an error object is created in MuleSoft. So in general, Mule message will have only two parts. We have already seen that every Mule message will have two parts. One is attributes, another one is payload, right? So that is for success case. If you have any error in the flow, if you experienced any exception in your flow, it will create a new object which is called error. So it will have all the error related details in that particular object, and it has couple of fields. By using the particular field name, you will get the specific error detail. So it has lot of fields. We will see in our next slide. So whenever an error is created, that error object is created whenever an error occurs in your flow. But in success scenario, you cannot see this error in your data view. So while debugging your application, you will see this Mule message error object. If you have any errors in your flow, we will see that later once we have started the hands-on session. Okay. So these are all the different components of error object, which are nothing but field names. See here we have error dot field name. By using this syntax, you will get the details about the error. Okay, so like that, what are the different fields? What are the different selector expressions you have? So we have a description, error type, detailed description, cause, error message, and child errors. These are all the major fields, and even into these all these fields, we have to concentrate. We have to focus on description and error type. These are all the major two fields we are going to use in our real-time projects in very frequently. We can use all these other fields also, but these two we can use very frequent manner. Okay, so let's see one by one. So what is error dot description will tell you. If you want to get description of the error, you should use this syntax to get that error description. And if you want to get what type of error you are getting, so you have to use error dot error type with this syntax. This is syntax specific to MuleSoft. This is nothing but a Mule syntax, Mule expression language syntax. But in data view, you have to call directly error dot error type. We will see all these things once we have started hands-on. As I said earlier, this session is majorly we will have hands-on other than the theoretical explanation. Okay, this is the only video you will find theoretical explanation. Next time, next video onwards, we will see all the hands-on sessions. Okay, so error type. This field will have all the type related details. So use it to characterize the problem and allow the routing within the error handler. Because based on the error type only, it will go to that particular error handler flow, and it will execute the code in that particular flow, and it will send you the response. So if you want to see more details about your error, you can have error detailed description. And cause is, it will show a Java thread. So we cannot understand this. It will show display Java thread whenever if you have any specific requirement, like you have to catch that particular Java throwable result, you can use this. Error message is an optional message which MuleSoft will send you as part of error object. If you have any API ready connectivity, something, any other specific errors, you will find at least few details about this error message. It is optional field. You cannot get these details every time. Okay, so error dot child errors. Child errors is a field where you will get all the optional collection of inner errors, you can say. For example, scatter gather will use, in general, scatter gather flow will use this error details. What is scatter gather? That is a different topic. Scatter gather is a specific component, a unique component available in MuleSoft, which will use it to execute the parallel flows. You can execute as many as flows parallelly if you have that requirement. So that is a different topic. So if error dot child errors will be very useful in kind of scatter gather flows and all, right? So what is major properties you have? So as we said earlier, we have to concentrate on error description and error type first of all. So error description is a text message which where you will find a complete description of your error. So what error type will contain? So let's see error type. Actually, in general, error type will have two different parts. One is namespace, another one is identifier. So for example, if you can see HTTP colon unauthorized. This is namespace, this is identifier. Validation colon invalid in number. This is a namespace, this is identifier. So what is this namespace and identifier? I will explain you by using this API kit router errors first, then we will come back to this slide. So let's see, this is the type. These are all generated by default, right? So we have not done all this code. We are getting this code by default once you import the design raml from the design center, right? So this is one kind of error. Just to see what is the error type. API kit colon not found. This is one error type. Another type of error is API kit colon bad request. So wherever, but if you can observe one thing here, for all the errors, the namespace is same, API kit colon, API kit colon, API kit colon, which means by using the namespace, we can understand what connector is throwing error. So here, if you can observe, this is related to all API kit router errors. So that is why it has added API kit as a namespace. It is a common namespace for all the API kit router errors. So by using the namespace, you can understand which connector is through the error. So that is useful for that case. What is identifier? By using the identifier, you can observe what type of error you are getting. Okay. So API kit colon bad request. You can understand in this way, right? API kit, okay, this is thrown by, I mean, this error is thrown by API kit router. And what type of error it is? It is a bad request. Means you have missed some input values and all. So another one is API kit colon method not allowed. API kit is a namespace. By using this, you can understand this error is thrown by API kit router component. Identifier is method not allowed. So by using this identifier, you will understand what type of error it is. So method not allowed. It means you have used wrong method. Like that. Like that, you can you can understand by using the error type field, you will understand what type of error it is and what connector thrown that error. So for example, here HTTP colon unauthorized. Because HTTP is a namespace, you can understand like this error is thrown by HTTP connector, and unauthorized means you have used wrong credentials, like that. So we have to focus on error type and error description in every error we are getting. Okay, so that's it for this video. So in this video we have discussed error, what is error handling, and classification types, and what are error objects details and all. So just try to focus on these things. Let's meet in another video where we will discuss about more in error handling strategies of MuleSoft one by one by doing a hands-on session. I hope you understand this video. You like this video. Okay. Thank you. Please practice, and let's meet in another video. To give you overview, we have three different error handling strategies available in MuleSoft, which is application level error handling, flow level error handling, processor level error handling. Okay, so if you have application level error handling, which means if you have any error handling details in your application, if any error occurred in your throughout the application, regardless of component, regardless of the flow, if any error occurred in throughout your application, uh, this application strategy, I mean this error handling strategy will handle. So we have two types in that: default error handler, global error handler. We will see one by one in our hands-on session. Okay. So next one, flow level error handling. So flow level error handling means if any error occurred in specific flow. So for example, say if any error occurred in this get all bus details flow, this flow error handling will handle that particular error. Okay, thus every flow will have common, I mean, every flow will have three sections we have discussed earlier, right? Source, processes, and error handling. So by using this error handling section, you can write all the error handling details here. So any error occurred in this flow, that will be handled by this flow specific error handling section itself. So those type of strategies is called flow level error handling. Okay, so every flow will have its own error handling. So any error occurred in that particular flow, it will handle by their own. So in that flow level error handling, we have different types, which is on error continue, on error propagate, rise error. Actually, these three are components. We are going to use these three components in this global error handler also, because in MuleSoft, to discuss about any error handling, we have these three are the major components: on error continue, on error propagate, rise error. If you can see here, if you can, I mean, this is in any point studio. If you search for an error, see, you will see four things: error handler, this is used for global error handler, and in general for all the flow level error handling, you will see three different components: on error continue, on error propagate, rise error. So we will see one by one once we start the demo. Okay, there we will discuss in detail. So another one is processor level error handling. For this we have only one scope, try catch scope. Let's search that also. So you can search with a try. This is nothing but try catch scope. By using this, we can handle errors specific to processor. Processor is nothing but all the any component drag and drop here in the processor section, which will be called as a processor. Okay, so for example, you can see, I'll just drag and drop a flow. Every flow will have three sections, right? Source, process, and error handling. So you have to write all the error handling code here in this error handling section. And here, after this dotted line, you will see process, right? So any component you have drag and drop here, because we have to use different components here in the process section based on your project business requirement. So any component you have drag and drop here in the process section, which is called as processor. So if you want to handle errors specific to that processor, you can use try catch scope. It purely depends on your requirement, your project requirement. If your client says you have to handle errors specific to this connector, for example, database connector, you can say insert. Okay, so if you have to handle specific errors related to this database connector itself, that won't be applicable for your flow, that won't be applicable for your application. You have to handle errors specific to this processor. You can use try catch scope. In the try catch scope, you can drag and drop this connector and you can handle that. We will see that also, but just to give you overview, I have given this example. Okay, so I'm actually deleting this one because this is not the valid one. Okay, so yeah, these are all the different strategies available in MuleSoft. We will see one by one in detail once we start the hands-on. I hope you understand different strategies. Let's see in another video. Hello. So to demonstrate this error handling, I have created a new application. I have created by using like the hello world example which we have done earlier. So file new Mule project, and in that new Mule project I have named it as error handling demo, and there is no RAML and all for this because this is a fresh new Mule application. We no need to import RAML or anything. So I just created a new project just like hello world project. Here I have used I have designed this flow in order to demonstrate the error handling. So I have used HTTP listener. I just drag and drop the HTTP listener here. So to save some time, I have actually designed this earlier. So just drag and drop that HTTP listener here under the source section. So here my path is error demo, and I have the port I have given 8087. Okay, and I would like to validate and I would like to frame the form like in this way. So port, localhost, and error demo, and one query parameter I am going to send, which is contact, which is nothing but the number query parameter. So we have already seen what are the query parameters and all in our previous session. If you are new to this, just visit that video and recap once. So anything you find, any key value files you find after the question mark in your URL, you can treat it as query parameter. So here my query parameter is contact, and the value should be any number, any integer number. Okay, so that is my code. I would like to actually validate that code. So in order to give the success response, I should send a number here. So if I send a number to this contact query parameter, then my flow should success. Otherwise, it should fail. Okay. So as of now, I have defined only success flow. If you observe here, this is the error handling section where we are going to write our all error handling related code here. But as of now, this is empty because I didn't add anything here as of now. I have just designed this flow, and here the response I need to get in this way. This is by using transform view message. I just drag and drop the transform view message here. I mean transform message here, and by default it would be Java, right? We have already seen that. So I have changed it to JSON, and I have given one just status equal to 200, response is success. I have given it manually. So now this is the one you have to concentrate here, the validation module, because listener transform message we have already seen. So what is this is number? This is actually validation module available in MuleSoft. It will validate all the payload or query parameters or variables against your input value in order to provide you the valid true or false response. So if you can search here validation, okay, these are all the different operations available for this validation module. So it will be already added to your Mule project. You don't need to add it manually. So validation module will be already there in your project. So just drag and drop. These are all the different operations of this validation module. Here I have used is number. So I just drag and drop the is number validation here. Why? Because my requirement is to validate the query parameter value. So if I send any name value, I mean any characters for this contact query parameter, it should fail. If I send any number parameter, it should success. So what this validation module will do is the is number operation. What I have just drag and drop the is number operation from here to there. What it will do, it will just check the input value, and if it is a number, it will send a true. So if it is true, the successful flow will execute it. If you send other than a number, if you send any special characters or any other ABCD characters and all, it should send false. It will display false. So it will go to error handling section. The success response you won't get. So let's see one by one. So what are there in this validation module? Just double click on it. As I said earlier, I would like to actually check the contact query parameter, right? So we have already seen how to read the query parameters. So by default, this is empty. You need to just click on this function button. So by default, this function won't be selected. So you need to just click the function button, then this button will be blue. Now you will give your query parameter syntax here. So attributes dot query params dot contact. Here contact is my query parameter. So I would like to check this. So that is the expression I have given. So what it will do, it will take from the URL. It will check the contact value here. If it is number, it will send true. Otherwise, it will send false. So that's it for this flow. I hope you understand my flow and what are the different components are going to do here. So let's run this application and let's see how we can test it and how we can do that. And one more thing I have added here, number type equal to integer. Here it is having different data types also available here. I just selected integer here because I am going to send contact number as an integer, just a normal number. Okay, so to understand this clearly, let's run this in a debug mode. We have already seen how to debug your application, right? So let's run this application in debug mode and let's see all the steps involved. Okay, so just right click your application and go to debug as Mule application. So it will take some time to deploy your application. Let me just stop and start the server again. So right click on your application, go to debug as Mule application. Okay, so it will run in a debug mode. So once this is deployed, I'll resume the video because it will take some time. So let's wait. Okay. The scenario what we are going to test here is like first we need to test the success scenario. Okay, do you want to open this Mule debugger? Yes, click on yes. So now your debugger will come. So for the first time, Mule debugger will be shown here. You need to drag and drop to here, which we have already seen in our debugging session. Okay. So I think it's still deploying. Yeah. So what we are going to test here in this video is we will test the positive flow, success flow first, because it means like we need to send the valid values and we need to test it. And we need to test another scenario. Instead of number, we will send some text or some name. Let's see how it will behave because we have not implemented error handling here. So if we didn't implement any error handling by our own, how the mule will respond. So that is the scenario we are going to see. So if you go to console, it is deployed. So let's test it once. Let's see how it will behave. So to test that application, you need to go to Postman. So here your URL is http colon slash slash localhost. Sorry, localhost. My port is 8087 slash error demo, and my query parameter is contact. And I have to give some value. Any value is fine. So this is my URL, right? You know how to frame the URL and all. We have already seen it. Okay, now let's test this. Let's run this application. So you have sent the click on send button, right? But you won't get response immediately because we are running this in debug mode. So if you go to Mule debugger, one Mule event is getting created. See, I have a point. I mean, I have given a debugger point here, breakpoint here. I have added breakpoint here. Okay, so that control is there now. So whenever you see this black dotted one, it means the control is there here. All the previous connectors are getting executed. Now the control is here. So once you click next, this connector will execute. Then it will send the response to next connector. So likewise, you can debug one by one. So now my control is under this validation module is number. So what are their previous values? I mean, what are the payload? What is the attributes till the previous connector? We can observe here. See, this is the validation module. So what are all the attributes available? You can just expand this. Just come down. See, you have one query parameter. Size is 1. So it means one query parameter is there. Let's expand this. See, if you can see, observe here, contact. This is the query parameter. And the value is 23483264, which we have sent just now. So it took that query parameter from your request URL and it is showing here. So it is successfully able to read that query parameter. So while the control is here in the validation module, all the details available previously we can see here. So we have one query parameter. Do we have any variables here? We have not created any variables, right? So you don't see any variable. Size is 0. For all the URI parameters, size is 0 because we don't have any URI parameters and all. So as of now, we have one query parameter which is contact. So till here, the flow is getting success. If any error is there, the dotted line will color will change to red. So as of now, there is no error. Let's move to next processor. So this one, you have to click here to move to next processor. So just click here. See, now W dotted line is moved to next processor. It means all the previous connectors are getting executed. Now the control is here in this processor. So let's see what is available here. I think pretty almost same because we don't have we didn't change anything, right? Here we are actually tracking validating that query parameter. So you don't expect anything new here. Okay, so there is no error as of now. So let's click on next processor. That's it. There is no control because all the processes we are getting executed. So you can expect some response here in Postman. So if you go back to Postman, see now. So the response is status 200, response is success. And here status code is also 200. Okay. So because this postman response we have configured here in our transform message, so that the same response it is sending here. So the success flow we have tested successfully. We have tested the positive flow now. Now let's generate an error. Let's see how the mule will behave if we don't have any error handling code here. Okay. To test that, you just send any characters here instead of the number, and let's see how this will behave. Let's do that. So let's test the negative scenario now. Let's send any characters other than this number. So now I have given clat demo, which is the characters, which is not the number. So it should fail. Let's send the request and let's see how the debugger will show all the values. So once we send that, it is showing um, it is showing all the details because now the control is here in the validation module. All the previous context is executed. So earlier the query parameter value we have seen the number. Now let's see what is available here. So let's expand attributes and let's come down to query parameter. Here if we can see contact equal to class demo. So it is successfully grabbed the query parameter value. So let's hit next. See now you can see a red dotted line here because an error is occurred, an exception is occurred because it is expecting integer value, but now we are receiving this value characters alphabets values. It is expecting number value. See, class demo is not a valid integer value. That is your error. Okay. Let's see now if any error occurred in your flow, it will highlight that component with the red dotted line. So now the error is occurred at this validation module here. So next next components will not execute now. Now the flow will stop here. Flow execution will stop here. It will send error response. That is the actually process of error handling. Okay, but we have not added any error handling here. And you have to observe one more thing before we discuss that. See earlier for success response, if you can see, the details here available is number, attributes, correlation ID, payload, route, wheres and all. There is no error object here. We have already discussed, right? Whenever an error is occurred, then only error object is getting created, right? So now the error is occurred here in this validation module. That is why error object is created. If you can expand this, you will see all the details here. So what is the error? So error dot description. If you remember in our previous slides, we can treat this as error dot description, like that you can read. So what is the error description? You can see the value here. Class demo is not a valid integer value. So that is error. You need to send an integer value for this query parameter, but you send class demo, which is the not an integer value. That is your error. So we should see another type, another field of error object. We should focus on two fields, right? We already discussed it, description and error type. So what is the error type? Expand this. See, every error type will have namespace and identifier. We discussed it earlier, right? So here what is the namespace? Validation. Identifier, invalid number. So by using the namespace, you can understand where the error is, which connector is through the error. So now validation connector is throwing the error. So that is why namespace is validation. So by this, you can understand validation module is throwing error. That's fine. So identifier, what is the type of error? Invalid number. So by this, you can understand you have sent an invalid number. That is not a valid number, which is expecting by the particular connector. Okay, so these are all the details available for error object, and we have again seen a detailed error message, right? So see detailed description. Now as this is a simple error, it is description and detailed description both are same, and it doesn't have any mule message because everything is a simple one. You can just see that, but you see payload is null because we are not sending any request payload. This is a get method. Right, so this is how you can actually, and you will see another detail also. Okay, so error what is the line number if the error is generated. You can see the error handling demo.xml. So this is the file name. You can see error handling demo.xml. This is the file name. What is the line number the error is thrown? Because this is your simple flow. So you will have only few lines, few 30 to 50 lines of code. But in your real-time projects, you will have lot many number of lines of code, hundreds, 200, 300 lines of code will be there. So in that case, it will be useful for you to debug your application, to get back and to see where the error is occurred exactly. So here the 15, the number is nothing but line number. If you can see here, just to go little up, see this is the line number 15, right? So validation is number. So this component is generated error. So you will find all the required details in this error object. Only thing is you need to just expand all these things. You need to run this in debug mode. You need to observe all the details available in this error object so that you will find all the required information, which will be very useful for you to understand what is the error and how you can handle that error. Okay, so now this is this is thrown an error, right? So let's go to next processor. But if any error is occurred in the flow, next processor will not execute in general. So when you click on next processor, earlier in success case, it is the control is moved to transform message. Blue dotted line, black dotted line is there. Jump to this one, right? But now the error is occurred, it should not execute. So let's click. See, the execution is stopped. The control is not moved to the next processor. So this is how error will behave. But now we don't have any code, anything under this error handling section. So what the response you get in your Postman? Let's see what we get in Postman. Let's go back to our Postman. See, you got the response like class demo is not a valid integer value. This is the error you received from MuleSoft, and the status is 500 server error. See, but we have not read any error handling code. We have not handled any error. So how this response you will get? How MuleSoft send this response? So that is the thing you need to focus on for this video. Because if you don't write any error handling details, if you are not going to handle anything manually by your end, MuleSoft will use default error handler. So MuleSoft will apply default error handling strategy, which is the application level strategy, which we have discussed already. Okay, application level error handling strategy. Let me open that PPT for you to understand little better. So we have different error handling strategies available, right? So here, yeah, if you can see, this is the default error handler strategy. So we have just seen default error handling strategy, which means if you didn't write anything, if you don't have any error handling, if you don't have any error handling code here in your flow or in your entire application, MuleSoft will automatically apply default error handling strategy, and it will send error description by default. This is the error description we have there. Class demo is not a valid integer. You have seen the same text here. Sorry, now that it is completed, right? So see, you can just check this in console. So message, this is the error description. Class demo is not a valid integer value. This is the error dot description. So where this is there? So in listener, if you can go to listener, go to responses. Okay, so this is success response. It will send a payload. Just scroll down. See here, error response section is there. By default, MuleSoft will add error dot description here. We have not added this. We just drag and drop the HTTP listener, and we have configured port and path. That's it. We didn't touch anything here as of now. So if you can observe, by default, error response is error dot description, which is available in your error object, which is class demo is not an integer value. This is your error description. So by default, MuleSoft will apply default error handling strategy if you didn't write any error handling code here, if you are not handling any error here. I hope you understand the default error handling strategy. So let's see how we can handle these type of errors manually by adding code into this error handling section. That's it for this video. Please do practice, and let's meet in another video.